Transported to hell. The things I saw changed me forever. In a vision, Jesus took me to hell. It was like a terrible, life-changing accident. You know how when an accident happens, you keep replaying over in your mind what you could have done differently. I have replayed August 28th over and over at least 1,000 times, if not more. Oh God, what did I do wrong? Why did this happen to me? Because I have looked at this accident so much, I know many little details that have been etched into my memory. Many of them are unimportant, but I have memorized them nonetheless. I have looked for every little decision or detail that resulted in the worst day of my entire life and possibly the most life-giving day for myself. It is important to know that what I share here all happened instantly. It wasn't an orderly progression, but I've tried to lay it out in an orderly fashion here. How it began: I worked for the evangelism department at the International House of Prayer, now called the Kansas City Evangelists Fellowship KCEF. That morning we were in our weekly 2-hour evangelism meeting. As the meeting began with worship, I was standing at the back of the room. Before I can enter into worship in a heart connect way, let alone in spirit and truth, see John 4:24, I have to tell my body, you will worship God. So that day I raised my hands to God, and I sung loudly to Him. I engaged my mind to worship Jesus by contemplating the beauty of His love and the magnificence of His dying on the cross for me. I let my emotions worship Him, which allows my heart to open to Him. The worship leader was helping us pray for our lost family members, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. To really get a sustained heart for lost people, I have found I have to make it personal. I have to truly think about what it would be like for my lost family members to not make it to heaven. When we think about someone we love not being in heaven, it creates a real sadness, and if we think about it long enough, it creates a desperation. These thoughts allow us to identify with a real emotion for the people we love. Because it's such a negative emotion to experience, most people don't go there. Evangelists are willing to expose their hearts to let God's truth and urgency shape us. We don't like the down emotion either, but by allowing it we become more tenderized to the eternal truth for lost souls. Then, sharing about Jesus becomes essential and very personal. As we sang an evangelistic song, I felt the presence of holiness come into the room. The song gripped me, and just seemed to add to the excitement I already felt. The music was captivating and took me to what I will call a worship place. The feeling in the room was the same as other times that I had been invited to come away with the Lord to visit heaven. I knew I was being invited to go in the Spirit. The holiness had come for me. I said, yes. Then, all of a sudden, the front of the room opened up. I instantly opened my eyes and saw the transformation as it happened. The hell realm unlocked, and I heard massive gates creak open, and I felt extreme heat enter the room. I looked with my eyes wide open, and I saw hell through the gates. I saw it. I was shocked that it was right there. Wasn't it supposed to be in the center of the earth or below us? To say I panicked is an understatement. Worship and prayer continued around me. The people were oblivious that hell was at the front of the room. I watched those ominous gates open as I watched the people worshiping. The two places, the meeting room and hell, were together. I frantically looked to see who might help me. The others didn't see the gates, hear that sound, or feel the heat. Instinctively, I started screaming. I felt the sound of fear coming from my own body. I knew that my spirit was being demanded to submit. As I screamed, my spirit was also making a sound that deeply hurt my heart and brain, while it also panicked every blood cell in my body. Something came flying past the gates of hell. It was coming for me. It was like an arm without fingers that grabbed me and sucked me into hell. The arm was very powerful. It was attached to me like a suction cup in the area of my chest and began dragging me further into hell. As quickly as it shot out from hell, it just as quickly moved back. I tried to pull back and break the hold it had on me, but it was too powerful. Before I could blink, I knew it was too late. The gate slammed shut with a terrible sound of finality. I knew there was no man on this side, or that who could ever open those gates. Only Jesus could, because He owns hell. Inside the gates I passed through gates that trapped the darkness inside. The first thing I knew when I got there, I was in hell. The realization that I was in hell was unquestionably shocking and beyond hurtful. I don't know how to explain just how panicked I was, although you may understand a bit if you've ever been lost. It was like that, but more dire. I was like a child and I had no plan. I panicked like no other panic I have ever experienced in my entire life. In fact, I knew that if I could add up every panic I have ever felt, it didn't come close to what I was experiencing. Someone said to me, "Lori, you are in hell." Oh my God, I answered. I knew many things all at once. As I break them down to explain each one individually, it gives the false appearance that it was a slow progressive onslaught. But everything was immediate. For the sake of explanation, I knew three things. First, I was in hell, eternally, for unforgiveness. Once the understanding of the judgment arrived in my heart, there were four distinct pains. Water immediately. All the water left my body, creating a desperate, painful need. Bone marrow. In an instant my bones turned black. Breath. The first breath allowed fire to touch everything in me and be carried throughout my body. Agreement. Agreeing with the judgment that hell is where I belonged removed my humanity. Before that day, I had not studied much about hell. I believed it was real because I believed the whole Bible is true. But I didn't think that anybody like me would ever go there. I also knew about the Bible's stance on unforgiveness. Although I knew, it was just easier to hold on to unforgiveness. I mean, with time, unforgiveness had become part of me. I would never have thought unforgiveness could take a person to hell. My view was swiftly changed. Back to the visible realm. At the end of the vision, I re-entered the earthly realm yelling. The worship was still going on, but I took center stage from the back of the room with my screaming. I had no idea how much trouble I was in or that I would be forever changed. I had no grid for the loss or the gain that would surround my life from that day forward. Today, I still have an eerie weightiness whenever I share about hell. It is a very important topic that everyone should take seriously.